Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Sifu Messiah. This is a weekly show which covers everything from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links can be found in the description for everything we discuss, so let's get on with it. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to all patrons, as you are really helping make these Star Citizen Sunday videos possible. If you are interested in becoming a patron, head over to our Patreon page using the link in the description. Thank you. So this week we have 10 for the producers. We take a look into ship components and the Merlin HUD with Around the Verse. Plus we have our weekly Star Marine update. Oh, and patch 1.1.5 is available on the PTU. So this week's 10-4 was 10 for the producers. This is episode 9. I have picked 5 of the questions out of the 10 because the other 5 were relating to how to become a producer or how to follow the career of a producer. So if you are interested in a career as a producer, a game producer, please do check it out as it gives you some good tips, some good books to read, etc, etc. Anyway, to the questions. First one is, will CIG add various tobacco products to the game such as cigars, cigarettes and pipes that players can smoke, and will any of it be illicit? And they say this will all depend on what they decide, what sort of age rating they decide to go with the game, the ESRB rating. So they say they want it to appeal to the masses, and so by doing that, if it was an over 18 game only, then obviously the under 18s won't be able to play it if smoking was involved. But it's kind of stupid because you can already drink and get drunk in the game, and I know in America you need to be over 21 to drink anyway. So plus with the whole fact of it being a realistic universe, they're going to be killing. They say the hit identification for the FPS is going to be blood splats. I very much doubt that this will get an under 18 age rating. I honestly cannot see that happening. But with that said, it will depend on what they decide. They will have to tweak things if they do go for the under 18, so I think it's like 15 is the next one down, or the 16, I'm not too sure. But a bit daft that they already have drinking in and they're deciding whether or not to put cigarettes and smoking in. Anyway, moving on. Why did CIG decide to merge Arena Commander and Star Marine so early on their builds? Could you have kept them separate to allow for updates until Star Marine was finished? And they say there are a lot of facets in action here. There's lots to it. They say mainly it's the ease of development due to it merging back together anyway. They all come together as one unit, so to get it into one build is just much easier for editing overall, because then when obviously they fit it back together, if they had it separate and they put the Star Marine back with the AC, they say they'll probably find more bugs that they'll have to address, so it's easier to do it as one, and that way they get everything done in one big shot. But with that said, they sound like they're going to release as a 1.1.5, which is the Star Marine build, but with the Star Marine deactivated. So either way, we are getting part of the new AC. So third question is, do these constant updates to playable builds help or hinder the progress of the overall project? And they say a bit of both. They say supporting a live game and a non-live game, so obviously Arena Commander and the game Star Citizen itself. So they're not sure if it really hinders it. They say it benefits a lot from having a live build, because if there was no live build, then when Star Citizen does go live, they would only have to address all these issues that we've had, which obviously if they released it in a sense that as a full game, we wouldn't be able to iron these out and help them iron them out, and we would be really frustrated with what we saw. So by having this, knowing the back-end blockers and all these other blockers, it's good to get it ironed out before the release of the main game. So when they do come to release Star Citizen as a full working game, so much more will be smoother than what it would have done without it. They did say that they are breaking new ground as they go, so there's lots of software being developed, tools for helping them create the game quicker. And not to mention that they've obviously done things in a completely different way to any other game producer, so there's going to be things to iron out, but this does sound, in my personal opinion, it does sound like it's a benefit having a live game to practice with, basically, before the full game comes out. Anyway, good question, good answer. So, next question is there a better way of presenting the project status page to show people exactly what they've been working on and the current game status? And in the example they gave was because they've been away for a good sort of 6 months and not seen what's going on, so they can't get a finite idea. And they say that there's a lot to track and manage when it comes to the development of this game, because there's so many different departments as well. And they say going into a breakdown is a great idea. They really like the idea of breaking down every single aspect of where they are with each project on the project status page, and they would love to do it. They say so many things though get pushed back or pushed up so often that unless they have someone constantly updating it, then it just wouldn't work. They did say it's a full-time job, so to be honest, do we want people working on that? Do we want to spend extra money on these people to have that as a job, or can we just deal without it? Personally, I don't mind, but then I do read the page every day, which is one of the reasons why I do Star Citizen Sunday, to make it so everyone, because everyone has a hectic lifestyle, you know, and so having a concise 30-minute, 40-minute at the most video just to show exactly what's been happening, it's easier for them to keep up with. So in my opinion, I don't think we need that, but I can understand someone's been away for 6 months, they come back, they won't have a clue what's going on because it just says, you know, it work in progress or whatever. But anyway, tell me your thoughts on that. So last question, which is, what have you done to ensure that Star Citizen does not suffer from feature creeping? Now, feature creeping is when you get an idea and you think, yes, we want to put that in, and then you get another idea and you think, yes, we need to put that in, and then 3 months down the line you realise you're just still chasing all these cool ideas and trying to implement them. So they say, is there any interesting concepts, and are there any ideas of what would be considered as a feature creep now? And they say that absolutely there are. It does have, Star Citizen, whenever they're developing it, they have so many new ideas for features that they want to put in. They did say there's a backlog of everything that comes up in the meetings. They said to the staff that they want the sky to be the limit, so whatever you come up with, make a note of it, keep the ideas there, and then they'll look at the backlog and filter out with future releases. So anything they come up with, if it's a plausible reason to have it in the game or they really want it, they'll have it on a list, and then they'll go to it after the main features have been implemented, and if they have time they'll implement more. If not, they'll release it and then do it further down the line. They did say that they have no shortage of ideas, but they have to make sure they check the schedules and be realistic, as obviously a lot of us are waiting for the FPS module, so they can't keep adding new features to that. They have to now get it out as soon as possible, and they are trying to stick to a time frame, so they're doing the best by the sounds of it. All the other features that they have mentioned to us or that they've been answered in the 10.4 series will make it into the game, but a lot of it will be added later on. Anyway, that was, well, I can't really say 10 for the producers, it was 5 for the producers. Tell me your thoughts on everything. Let's get on to Around the Verse. So next up is Around the Verse episode 53, and we start with the Empire Report as normal.
On the next Empire Report, the Terra Gazette's Riley Rudin finds herself in hot water. Did she really visit Spider before filing her report on its underground biological goods market? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Our investigation has uncovered new details.
Citizen versus civilian. A recent report reveals that the economic gap between the two has increased yet again. Courtney Trevor hits the streets to see if people's personal spending has taken a hit.
Are you a Moby-Glass addict? Dr. Shirley Wood's new book claims that using it too much could be ruining your life. Stay tuned to learn the telltale warning signs. All that and more on the next Empire Report at 2200 SET.
Sandy and Ben were talking about the fact that the Squadron 42 mocap shoot is finished, it's over. Everything has been recorded for Squadron 42. I really cannot wait to see this story. It's just going to be amazing. Also, they said on this episode that 1.1.5, the AC 1.1.5 update, was coming to the PTU today, but it hasn't arrived so far. This is Friday now, I'm recording this, so we shall have to wait and see. Hopefully over the weekend it'll happen. I will do a live stream. It will probably most likely be a test of a live stream, because I don't even know if my network is capable of it, but I'll do a live stream of everything that's new. We've got the Merlin, which is open for everyone to either buy. I think it's $20 if you want to buy it, or you can use rental equipment credits, and the Scythe, which is only open to the people who have backed for the Scythe. Hopefully I know someone who has backed for it and I can show it off. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, news from around the verse, starting with Santa Monica CIG. They say that they've been working on the Vandal Scythe, getting it flyable for 1.1.5. So there's some really cool features to it. You'll just have to wait and see for them. They're putting the finishing touches on the Merlin, again, ready for the update, and they're working on balancing for Arena Commander, getting it more improved, more polished to what they really want it to be like. So over to Ilphonic, they say they have made some changes to the hologram gadget, which is the hologram you throw down and it displays a hologram of a human to distract the opposition. They say this change brings in a stance, so it'll retain the stance that you planted it in. So if you're crouched and you put the hologram up, it'll put it up crouched, which is very interesting. I've never known one to do that before. Also, when you hit it or when it's shot, it'll phase in and out to show that it's not real. So it'll only have a quick distraction. It will only be about 2 seconds at the very, very most. Also, they're working on the grenades and the gadgets. They say they've got a quick throw rather than having to select it first. And also, the grenade cooking is in, so you can count it down, but make sure you count right. The electric shotgun has had some changes. They are slowing down the shot speed and adding an animation to show this. So things like vents will come out and cool down, and also you'll have to cock the shotgun as well. It sounds like this will stop again, this sort of Twitch run and gun type gameplay, which is very good. Austin, Texas CIG, they say their current tasks are for the Gamescom demo. Really excited for that. They say they're testing 1.1.5, doing some balance changes and adding the new ships. And also they're testing the Gamescom demo itself. They say it's going to feature large world, quantum drive and the multi-crew system. So that's a little bit of snippet there for what's going to come at Gamescom. Very excited for that. They're also still testing the FPS module, making sure they get it as polished as possible for when they release it. fingers crossed it'll be soon. So over to Foundry 42. So they're working on the FPS weapons, armor and gadgets and the grenades, and they're just getting everything balanced. They've got difference in recoil. They've worked out the recoil for each weapon. Difference in the breathing between the heavy, the light and the medium armor as well. So you'll breathe heavier when running or moving in heavy armor compared to light armor. They've been putting in the weapon placement and sort of weapon quantity of the Vandal ships as well. They've also got the flight set up for the Void Bomber and the Vandal Stinger as well. Very, very cool. Cannot wait to see inside one of them. And work continues on the Argo utility vehicle, which is like a Squadron 42 workhorse, they call it. So after news from around the verse, we met up with Zane BN, who is the UI designer. He does the UI for the majority of the ships. And in particular today, he was looking at the Merlin HUD and UI. They say it's kind of a sleek sports car shape to the HUD. The interior has a cool screen. It looks fast, like a high-end sports car. We've seen the UI for the Merlin before. It's one of the sneak peeks. But there's also some sort of Photoshop mock-ups, and then they've showed it implemented. And obviously the UI will be completely unique with each ship, but each manufacturer will have a similar setup in every ship they own. So the Constellation and the Aurora will have a very similar setup, but it will be different because it's a different ship. Very, very cool. I'll try and find and put up all the images that they showed there. After that, we spoke with Chris Smith, or James Pugh had a chat with Chris Smith, who is the principal vehicle artist. Now, he is responsible for many of the ships, pretty much the lead artist that we have for the vehicles. And he is currently working on the Constellation, getting it into the new ship pipeline so that they can get it out quickly. They say they're bringing it up to the visual standard that we expect from all the Star Citizen ships. And also, along with the Retaliator, this is going to be one of the main multi-crew ships for when that releases. He did say that the Retaliator is very close to pretty much being ready for the multi-crew gameplay. So, as soon as the ships are finished, the 2 ships for the multi-crew, they'll start really implementing it, making sure that everything in the ship works for everyone. Wow, I cannot wait for multi-crew. From there, we met with Lisa Ohanian for Ship Shape, and today she was talking about the damage tech. She said that it's not really been explained in depth, and I mean, there was a deep dive post on it which did cover a lot of it, and I don't think there's anything else completely new, but I'll tell you what she said anyway. They say that they're upgrading all the ships to the new damage system. Now, this damage system is actually uses 4 times less memory than the original, and it is far more in depth and high in fidelity as well. She says they're most excited about the level of detail when inflicting damage. It has exact location damage, so wherever you shoot, it will show up the damage, plus whatever projectile you are using, it'll do certain damage variation. So an energy weapon would scorch and burn the area that you hit, whereas a ballistic weapon would likely penetrate and puncture and cause fragments to fly off. It does look incredibly exciting, and like they said, you will just want to shoot the crap out of your ship just to see what it looks like. Now, they put up a little video of an M50 which uses the old damage tech, and then the Merlin which is using the new, and you can just see the level of detail. Now, this is incredible, especially considering it takes 4 times less memory for each ship. They did say that it adds layers of strategy for players who are trying to target specific locations for different reasons. So if you wanted to take out the comms antenna of another ship so that they can't radio for help, then you can locate that and just blast away at that, and if you hit that, that'll be destroyed. Nothing else will. So you can target specific areas for strategy and capturing ships. Also, in my personal opinion, when you have little damages and little nicks to your ship, nothing that is requiring a major fix or a polish, but something like a little scratch, it kind of adds character, and it shows that you will be able to pick out your ship in a lineup of the same ships. So for that, it adds ownership to this ship. So you will feel like it is yours, you will appreciate it more, and then you will look after it more. You won't want to go out there and get blasted, so you won't likely engage in random acts of violence because you don't want to run the risk of losing your ship. So again, this, in my opinion, it'll help against people maybe trolling. Not completely, obviously, but it will help towards it, and it'll just give you that feeling of ownership. Anyway, I've rabbited on enough. The Merlin will be $20, and it is an add-on ship with 1.1.5. They say they'll like to see it racing and in dogfighting. I expect it's pretty nimble in both. If you already own a ship that comes with the Merlin, then it'll be accredited to your account with 1.1.5, so you do not need to make an extra purchase. They also say they're needing your Arena Commander footage for around the verse. Every so often they put in a little snippet of a 30-second show of just what you have recorded, just to filter the gap, sort of a transitional video. So if you are interested, please check out the forums. I'll try and find a link. If I don't remember, put it in the comments and I'll find a link for you all. Also, someone has sent Star Citizen coasters. Now, I remember seeing these a while ago, and I actually inquired to this guy if he's going to make them on sale, because they are really nice. I think they look like bamboo or some sort of wooden coasters which have got scorched in different ships. Very, very cool. I would buy a set if you have any, or if Star Citizen want to release it. I think it was something to do with they couldn't release them because they didn't have the official rights over the brand, which is understandable. But Star Citizen, CIG, Chris Roberts, give him the rights to make them. Let him make some money from them, because I would happily buy them. Anyway, next week, the most valuable post is best. So they say, go to the RSI forum thread and put in your suggestions. I'll try and find the link. Again, if I forget, please tell me. And the sneak peek is a medical bay, as you can see. My personal opinion again, I think it's Stanton. The backdrop looks very much like Artcore. Anyway, that was around the verse. Some really exciting stuff coming out there. Tell me your thoughts on it. What are you excited for? What are you pissed off about? Let's move on. So next up is the Star Marine update. This is where they break down what's going on with the Star Marine module and why we haven't received it yet. It's been broken down into the sort of departments. So we've got engineering and code, player locomotion, animation, and all this. They go through each section and just tell us what's going on with each section. So starting with engineering and code, they say they've had a number of netcode improvements. Big focus of these changes are making sure the movement transitions are serialized. Also, passing and clipping through objects has been significantly decreased. One issue with leaderboard data has been fixed as we speak, or is being fixed as we speak. They've resolved problems with equipping, throwing grenades while holstering a weapon and preventing the personal shield from being destroyed. They're investigating a problem of player teleportation and hits not registering between clients. So that's what's been going on with engineering and code. Into player locomotion and animation, so network improvements mentioned before has already had a very positive impact on the animation status. They're reviewing and experimenting with the Ragdoll effects for the death, and I'll show you a little snippet of this. They're also working on walking jukes and jumps. Holstering weapons animations to climb a ladder are in progress. Transitioning between walk, sprint and run, they are making sure that they all look right as well. And they're fixing an issue with the ladder mounts and dismounts. And they're also updating the crouch, jukes and prone issues. So a lot of them are to do with the jukes, but it should look fantastic when they're done. So on to level design. They're tuning player focal points and sight lines. They're doing a performance pass in areas which they say result in better frame rate like they've never seen before. So it should be a lot easier when we get into the Star Marine, because I assume that will be quite a heavy load on the PCs. They're making improvements to the recharge stations and redone some of the lighting to improve their breakable function, which sounds interesting. Also adding additional spawn locations in free play practice mode and making a material surface pass on the full level itself. Lots going on. So game design, they're discussing how to make team elimination a slow-paced tactical game. They want it to be a simulation of the rest of the PU's FPS. So they don't want it to be just a standalone thing for the Star Marine module. They want it to represent how it will actually be in the persistent universe. They also want the consequence of death to encourage players to move slowly, so being careful, and also have a reason to work together to overcome the enemy. They're adding a round timer to practice mode. Whether or not that means that we only have a certain time in there, or whether we can just explore at our leisure, I don't know. And they're also adding a scoreboard to the ends of matches and testing a small respawn delay with the countdown timer to see how it impacts the overall feel. So on to weapons and gadgets. The Devastator shotgun has had a pass to add more of a pop and attitude during reload and fire. This is so that people can't run around with a shotgun and just blast away all the time. They've had extensive work on two-handed gadgets. These animations work in three sections. You've got weapon, deselect, gadget, grab and throw, and weapon select. They say the ATT-4 is a very satisfying weapon to use, and instead of tuning it down to match the other weapons, they're enhancing all the other weapons to get it on par with the ATT-4, which is a good refreshing way to look at it. They're doing a pass on the laser sniper rifle scope with the visual effects and the charging mode. So user interface and HUD. New icons are being implemented for guns, grenades and gadgets. There's a new health icon expected shortly. They've finished work on the weapon select and the ammo counter for the new HUD. They have begun integrating new message and a chat widget. They're looking at several options to improve the aiming reticle and speed up aiming down sights transition. And the next up is the health injury display widget. So finally, they tell us about the blockers that are still causing issues with why it hasn't been released. And they say the netcode issue, when you deploy a gadget, firing at targets aren't where they should be. There seems to be a high latency even with a solid server connection, so that is very important. They say netcode is improving, and they say wait till you see the 16-player arena commander matches with 1.1.5, which is very cool because they have doubled the size of the people that can go into arena commander. The jukes and stops need tuning. They say less jukes at low speeds, and then obviously more at high speed, sort of strays, turns and stops. Currently they think there is too much weapon sway in aiming down sights. They need to tune the movement from the player's input, so breathing, being near cover, getting hit, or during a transitional juke, the sway is just too strong. Animations for all weapon types are not yet done, but they are burning through them, and the new visor HUD is not quite ready, so they need to get that fixed as well. They also say that there's a sort of a bug with the radar while aiming down sights, which, I mean, it could be frustrating. Although saying that, I'm surprised you would see the radar when you're aiming down sights. I thought it honed in and focused on a certain point, but we shall see. In terms of audio blockers, they say not all the audio cues are hooked up for the weapons, the hit indicators, or the UI elements, and also the audio for footsteps and weapon fire are not quite correct yet either, so there's still quite a bit to do, but it does sound like they're getting through it quite quickly each week. Hopefully, with there's only a couple of weeks, maybe 3 at the most, I really need to get my hands on this Star Marine. And the winner of the gun sight poll was the Ghost sight, so if you voted for that, you've had your wish. Anyway, that was the update for the FPS. Tell me your thoughts. So, also this week, James Pugh interviewed Adam Weiser, who is the associate writer in Meet the Devs. There was a new op.net article titled Due Diligence, which gave us an insight as to what some of the mercenary protect escort missions might be like. I highly recommend reading that. Bug Smashers episode 6 is available, which shows Mark fixing some physics bugs, so check that out in the description. There was a new Galactic guide, this time focusing on CUBBY Blast, which is the well-known weapons dealer type store within the Persistent universe. The new Jump Point is available to all subscribers. This month it shows the Merlin work in progress and the company behind the Merlin. They talk about ship component and then take a look at the Castra system. Finally, the Alpha 1.1.5 update is now available on the PTU. I did start my download overnight last night, but the patch, when it got to about 15, it crashed and it wouldn't allow it. I'm hoping to show it off in a live stream on Monday afternoon. However, it will all depend on when it gets downloaded. Follow us on Twitter at SuperMacBrother with no S in the end if you want to keep informed of whether the live stream will go ahead. But do follow me on Twitch at SuperMacBrothersRyan, and if all goes well, we will grab a couple of beers and have a chat while checking out the new features. We recently affiliated with Razer as we feel they make amazing products, and if you're looking for a particular peripheral, click the link in the description to see what Razer's latest deals are this week. Any product bought will give us a little kickback, which really helps us out. So yet again we have come to the end of the show. I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers and a massive thank you to all our patrons. You are truly helping our channel grow. If you are interested or able to help us out in way of a monthly donation from as little as $1 to any amount you deem fit, check out our Patreon page in the description. This really helps our channel to create more videos, better quality videos, and it allows us to get better hardware, better software, plus it allows us to spend more time on creating the videos. Don't forget to subscribe, comment if you have anything to say, show me the love by hitting the like button, and share it with all your friends and enemies. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in next week's show.